This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC Vegas 90. I'm going to give you guys my lock of the week, most confident picks, my favorite underdogs. We'll talk Degen props of the night and then finish it out with the parlays. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure to share the video as well. Last week was great as far as overall underdog calls, predictions, but when it came to the women's lock, Erin Blanchfield unfortunately lost a lopsided decision. Listen, I had to have faith in the Jersey girl. I had to rep and ride with Jersey. I did believe she was going to win. I'll make no excuses here. I still have faith in Erin Blanchfield moving forward, but ultimately, Manon Fiorot, I believe, is the best women's flyweight in the world right now, and I think the uncrowned champion most likely. It's okay, though, because we're re-scrambling, reassessing, and we're bringing a very quality and high likelihood lock this week, a true lock. So without further ado, the lock of the week.
Alex the Great White Morono.
Alex Morono over Court McGee. This jumped out at the page for me as the most confident pick, as a great lock, something that I think is extremely likely to happen, and it ends up being a little bit of a wide line because of this. It's okay. I don't mind. Minus 290, you're going to say, bro, what the hell? The money line sucks. I love it as a parlay piece, and it's a lock parlay piece. At the end, money parlay that I'm going to drop. And I think you guys probably have an idea what it is if you watched the money line earlier this week. I love the chances of Morono winning. I really think that Court McGee is over the hill, and he's taking on an extremely solid striker in Alex Morono, who's got good movement, good overhand shots, solid grappling in his own right, and far from being past his best days. I think Morono right now is peaking as a fighter. Last time out, he went 3 rounds with Buckley. And you look at Buckley pulling off a nice win over Vicente Luque and now becoming a ranked contender. That loss aged pretty damn well. Opposite side, we got Court McGee getting chinned back-to-back. I don't love the chances of him against another quality striker and somebody that has a submission threat on the ground. Morono is not somebody you can just bully on the floor. So I do believe Alex Morono is on his way to winning. Method of victory, I have to call knockout. I believe Court McGee is going to be a sitting duck for an overhand shot. Morono minus 290, as I said. Yes, the money line is a bit wide. Looking at the knockout win, it's plus 165 for Alex Morono. I do think he's going to end up getting a KO. He is the lock of the week for me at minus 290, and I'm feeling damn good about this one hit. And definitely a little bit of a chalky-locky. I'm not saying it isn't, but likelihood of success here, I believe, is through the roof. And I see Alex Morono getting it done as the lock of the week and getting my footing back so I can drop some dynamite for UFC 300, which is next week. That is the lock. Let's jump to most confident picks. This week, it's UFC Vegas 90. We're at the Apex, and we're being smart at the Apex. I am bringing 2 most confident picks as opposed to the normal 4 most confident picks because I'm not trying to add fluff, especially at a UFC Apex card. But I'll give you a little hint. 4 underdogs coming up. So don't worry. Don't worry. Let's talk these 2 most confident picks. We have Ignacio Bahamondes, and we have Charlie Campbell. Let's first talk Bahamondes. He's more proven than Charlie Campbell. He's taking on Christos Giagos. Giagos is a tough veteran, but Bahamondes should clean him up in the stand-up, and I think he's got a high chance of knockout. There's also a submission threat there. I do believe Bahamondes is probably getting it done inside of the distance. The money line is minus 330, so expect this name in the parlay section. Looking at Bahamondes winning inside of the distance, you have minus 150. I know that's not a beautiful line, but I have a strong inkling that Bahamondes gets a finish win over Christos Giagos. Giagos is a guy who's willing to put pressure in exchange. And you know what? We can't fully shit on Giagos' striking. He did touch up Zellhuber just a bit. I think Bahamondes, though, is going to find big shots. I think submission is live, similar to what we saw with Zellhuber. Could rock him on the feet and then sub him. I think knockout is possible either. The money line is the A side, but it's extremely wide at minus 330, so then it becomes more of a parlay hitter. And maybe you're parlaying this one with the lock for a little early access. The next one is Charlie Campbell over Trevor Peek. I like Trevor Peek. I'm a fan of Trevor Peek. But Charlie Campbell is just a significantly better fighter. Trevor Peek last time took on Muhammad Yahya. He won a decision in that fight. Yahya does not commit to throwing jabs and straights. Charlie Campbell has very good jabs and straights. Trevor Peek is actually kind of a sitting duck for big straight shots. Now, he does have a good chin. He does have incredible toughness and pressure, and he comes in wild. But Campbell can sit on shots and rock them. I actually believe Charlie Campbell has a high chance of sleeping Trevor Peek in this fight. Now, Trevor Peek has one of the thickest jaws in all of MMA, and maybe it's impossible to knock him out. But I'm willing to test that theory. I'm going to say Charlie Campbell by KO. It's minus 175 for Campbell on the money line. So this is a playable money line. Look at skill for skill. Trevor Peek's a savage. He comes with reckless, wild shots, insane pressure, but he's not technically sound at all. Charlie Campbell is an absolute dog, and he's technically sound. He's got power. He was beating up Chris Duncan. Yeah, he got caught by a big shot by Chris Duncan. Duncan's a better and more clean, and I'd say more powerful puncher than Trevor Peek. I see Charlie Campbell getting a KO. Campbell to win inside of the distance, minus 125. Campbell by a KO is plus 150, and then the money line, minus 175. I like the money line. Campbell by money line, I think, is the true A side. And, you know, normally money line is the better bet than trying to reach and prop things up. It becomes another parlay staple. Minus 175, Charlie Campbell, I see getting it done. I'm bringing two most confident picks. I will throw you an honorable mention, Dylan Budka. I do think he's got a good chance of pulling it off against Cesar Almeida, but it's a UFC debut on both sides, and to me, too risky to call it a most confident pick. Another pick that I was thinking probably hits. Everybody thinks Walter Walker is going to win. Reason I'm holding that back from being in this most confident pick section is simply because Lucas Drezhki seems to be in the best shape of his career. We'll find out at weigh-ins, and Walter Walker is not that great. I mean, he's a wild pressure fighter who has good takedowns and strength, but he's not very technical. And if Drezhki landed a big heavyweight punch, you really never know. Though I think Walter Walker and Budka both get them done. So those are like the honorable mentions on the side here, but I'm not putting them in the official most confident pick section. When we're at the apex, I realize I got to be more intellectual here. So those are the money calls for the most confident picks. Let's jump to the favorite underdog section where I'm becoming Mr. fucking underdog. After last week with Nate Landwehr, with Buckley, and with Nelson, I feel like a stud. I feel like a stud. I think that Chris Curtis, Jermaine de Randamie, Cynthia Calvillo, and Chepe Mariscal are all live underdogs. I will first discuss the main event because I think Chris Curtis deserves some respect here. He's plus 180 as a dog. And tell me, Brendan Allen taking him down and submitting him, that makes a lot of sense when you don't dig into this fight. But when you recognize Chris Curtis has incredibly good takedown defense and he makes opponents pay a lot on the feet. Oh, but Marc-Andre Barrios, he only won a split decision. Styles make the fights. We have to also take to consideration, I mean, can Chris Curtis maybe have not had the best night there? Now he's fighting Brendan Allen, who he knocked out in the past. And he found success with body shots in that fight. Expect him to replicate that. Allen has 5 rounds. If you're on the side of Brendan Allen, I think it's more likely he wins a decision. Chris Curtis is not an easy guy to get down, and especially not an easy guy to finish on the ground now. To get him down is hell. To sub him up on the ground? I don't like the chances. I think Chris Curtis is going to win the fight. I think Chris Curtis is live for a knockout. Just money line Chris Curtis, please, at plus 180, as opposed to risking it all for knockout. Now, if you want to sprinkle the knockout prop alongside of it, Curtis by KO is plus 300. Chris Curtis can go 5 rounds and strike too. It's going to be a very interesting match. I like money line Curtis plus 180. I understand the Brendan Allen side, though. But he hasn't shown me against any fighters that he's taken on, okay, now he can do this to Chris Curtis. I think Chris Curtis is getting an upset. I feel real good about Chris Curtis winning as a dog. Real good. Next one I'm going to discuss, I'm not going in bout order. I'm just going in the order that I wrote it down. Jermaine de Randamie. If de Randamie is not significantly affected because of the pregnancy, because of the time off, she should dominate Norma Dumont. She's a significantly better striker. She has the grappling defense, I believe. For a girl in Norma Dumont who's not a great offensive wrestler, she comes from a boxing base herself. So we have striker versus striker. Jermaine de Randamie, in her prime, this to me was an easy, confident pick. Problem lies upon the fact of the layoff, and I understand the concerns. Now, last fight for de Randamie, she beat Juliana Pena, who's the former champion. She subbed her. Fight before that, she lost to Amanda Nunes, and Amanda Nunes had to shoot takedowns. She was not comfortable striking with Jermaine de Randamie in the slightest. I'm going to pick Durandame. She's plus money, plus 130 to pull it off straight down the line. Now, if Dumont's to win, probably a decision. This fight might be going long at minus 300. Durandame knockout, plus 600. Wow. Durandame inside distance, plus 415. Wow. Note something about Norma Dumont. If you don't know this, well, here it is. Macy Chiasson, lanky fighter with a size advantage over her. She lost a split decision. Megan Anderson, lanky fighter with a size advantage. She got knocked out in the first round. Germaine Durandame's frame is a frame that typically Norma Dumont is going to struggle with. And I'm going to have confidence that she pulls this one off. I'm going Germaine Durandame, underdog. Now, could she be significantly affected because of the pregnancy? Maybe. Let's find out. But if she comes back looking 75, 80% of how she looked before, she's going to win this fight. And it's at 135, so Dumont's got to cut that extra weight as well. I'm picking Durandame for the W. I'm going to have some faith in her bouncing back looking in similar form to what we've seen before from her. Now, the next of the favorite underdogs. Cynthia Calvillo, who I don't love as a dog, plus 113. If she goes to wrestling, I think she can win, but I'm concerned that she won't. So be very cautious betting this one. I'm going to call an over 2.5, which is minus 350. I like that. Yeah, the plus money there, it's a pick, but it's like a coin flip pick. You can go heads or tails, and honestly, your likelihood of success is great. Heads, we're saying Calvillo for the upset. Tails, it's Rodriguez. Rodriguez got the tails on the show. So if you're throwing down, maybe you're avoiding this one. I'm not overly confident about this one, but this is a call, that it was like a pick flip call. It's because I don't think Pierre Rodriguez is that good. And Calvillo did give tough fights to quality opposition, but you don't know what you're going to get with Calvillo. If she looks to get it to the floor, I think she can look good. She's on a 5-fight losing streak, so maybe it's a stupid pick because momentum's against her. I don't think it's a great bet, but it is an underdog pick, and I'm bringing up underdog picks, and maybe this one's something that I should consider flipping after the weigh-ins, but then Cynthia Calvillo will definitely hit. So the pick flip curse will live on. We shall see Calvillo, but I don't really feel like talking too in-depth more than we already have. Next one is Chepe Mariscal, which honestly is not even barely a dog now. Plus 100, minus 105, plus 120. Depends where you're at. I think Chepe wins. It's going to be a fucking scrap. Very hard fight. Morgan Charriere is the better technical striker, the better wrestler, and pressure fighter is Mariscal. So can he close the distance? If he can, and he brings pressure at the apex, lands some trips, controls against the cage, in close range, I think this is the fight for Chepe. But if it's at distance, Morgan Charriere is going to pick him apart. Mariscal to win via decision would be my official pick, plus 200. Charriere, what's his knockout? Plus 225. It's not great. That's not great. He could knock him out, but Chepe is incredibly durable. We might be going all three at minus 210. Right here, competitive fight. I'm going to edge towards the side of Chepe Mariscal. He is an underdog, and he is an underdog prediction. Those are my favorite underdogs on this UFC Vegas 90 fight card, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the card. I am. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I want to talk some of these Degen props of the night. This section, I will say right away, straight out the gate, be cautious here, okay? I don't think you need to go absolutely berserker mode trying to throw every heat down on the props. I think the good plus money lines are pretty nice. So I was thinking Matsumoto, Dan Argueta. I think Matsumoto wins. He's the official pick, close. And over is minus 260 with a Matsumoto decision, only plus 125. That's not great. I like the over in the women's fights. What's this, minus 245? But if Nora Cornell's grappling is absolute shite, Melissa Dixon at plus 800 by sub is a Degen sprinkle. Now, Budka, my official call here, I think probably a decision, plus 185. What's a sub for him? Only plus 350. Not only, I'm like acting like that's nothing, but it isn't beautiful. Walter Walker needs to be looked at. Walter Walker, the fight to go over 1.5, minus 175. If he's to win, I think it does go longer. He's a good pressure fighter. He's strong, but I think he can win late. Again, though, this is risky shit. This section is looking like high-risk territory. This section is looking like a section that can burn your money up. That's why this week I don't love this section, actually. So I'm going to tell you guys, be very light on this Degen props of the night. There's not too many Degen props where I'm like, that's the one. Maybe after weigh-ins I'll think differently, but right now I don't. Hernandez is the pick here. Over is plus 125. I could see this fight going over at plus money. I'm going to keep this section limited. Be cautious. Let me know. Maybe you guys got some Degen props that I'm not seeing. Let me know in the comments. I'm curious what you guys are thinking. Now, let's jump to the fan favorite section, the fame section, the top section of all sections, the parlays. And I already got it locked in right here. Bahamondes, Morono. Listen, guys. This right here is a money call. Minus 139, minus 120. Depends where you go. I think this hits. I believe this hits. Charlie Campbell, minus 175. Now you got plus 170. If you want to have a little faith in underdogs, and maybe you don't want to play Charlie Campbell, you just want the two confident calls, you throw in Chris Curtis, plus 380. Or maybe you don't want Chris Curtis. You want a women's dog, Jermaine Durandame, plus 304. Durandame's got a good chance. And Curtis, plus 1,000. Now we're getting fucking reckless here. Now we're getting a little reckless. I'm telling you guys, a lot of people are going to take L's on parlays this week. Budka, Morono, Bahamondes. Budka, I'd say, is an honorable mention for sure and a confident pick. I'm not going to put Walker in. Not feeling Walker. Charlie Campbell, plus 356. Chris Curtis at the top, plus 1178. Or maybe you don't have Curtis. Maybe you go with Durandame, plus 972. Parlaying up Calvillo if you're a fucking absolute degenerate. Sure. Charriere, Shepe. Shepe's live, plus 805. Let's see here. Let's see. When you parlay up underdogs, yes, the lines get juicy as all hell, but, you know, your percentage of likelihood kind of takes a hard nosedive down. Plus 585. I'm telling you guys, be cautious this week. Seriously. Be cautious. Some good underdogs, some safety parlays. I think that it's an interesting card. It's a weird one, man. The Apex has been tricky for me this year. When we're at the Apex, shit gets weird. In Atlantic City, I'm killing it. I'm waiting for the crowds every single time. But I do think there's some good calls. And I really do have a great feeling about Morono and Bahamondes here. So that right there would be the safer parlay of the week. Something to consider if you're looking for, a higher likelihood of success. And maybe you don't want to risk it all. Because I think it hits. I do. I'm feeling this one a lot. I've been feeling this one since it got announced. I think there's a good shot for it. The parlay section, I'm going to keep it on the safer side. Maybe after weigh-ins, things will change. That's why if you're watching this, make sure you tune in to the weigh-in recap show. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you smash the likes on your way out. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Why wouldn't you? Daily content, daily live streams, UFC 300 around the corner. I can't wait for it. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of the picks. And if you got nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.